We've all been there, or at least we've seen it happen. A really great manager suddenly starts micromanaging a star employee. It feels confusing, it's frustrating, and it just completely crushes trust. So in this explainer, we're going to unpack the surprising science behind why this actually happens, and how a simplest shift in our own awareness can turn all that stress into a powerful team-building connection.
It seems totally backwards, right? Let's paint a picture here with a classic scenario. So you've got Julie, a top performer, who's just baffled because her new manager, Amy, has started redoing her work and, honestly, not doing a great job of it. Julie feels completely untrusted, and she's just left wondering, what on earth did I do wrong? But here's the twist. Amy is dealing with this immense pressure that Julie just can't see.
And this is exactly where the disconnect happens. See, from Amy's perspective, she's just trying to keep her head above water. Her micromanaging isn't about distrusting Julie at all. It's a desperate grab for control because her own environment feels so stressful. She has absolutely no idea that her actions are sending a message of doubt. This is a classic case of good intentions having a really, really negative impact, all fueled by stress.
So why does this kind of disconnect happen so easily? To really get to the root cause of this breakdown, we've got to look beyond just their actions and dive into the fascinating world of what's called emotional intelligence.
So emotional intelligence, or EQ, it's basically the bedrock of any effective communication. It's our ability to be aware of our own emotional state and, just as importantly, to perceive what's happening emotionally for the person we're talking to. It's the absolute key to navigating complex social situations, especially when the pressure's on. Now, here's the crucial part. Under stress, our EQ just tanks. These three key pillars, they just start to crumble. First, self-awareness. Amy is so caught up in her own survival mode, she can't even see how she's coming across. Second, her empathy is completely gone. She's blind to Julie's perspective of feeling untrusted. And third, her self-regulation disappears, which leads her to impulsively take over Julie's tasks instead of just talking to her.
And that right there is the heart of the problem. Amy intends to be a supportive manager who's ensuring project success, but the impact of her actions is just demoralizing her best employee. This gap, the one between our intention and our impact, is exactly where trust erodes and where teams start to fall apart.
Okay, so how do we close this gap? Well, the research is pretty clear on this. The most powerful tool for rebuilding our emotional intelligence when we're under pressure is mindfulness. It's the practical skill that lets us shift from that knee-jerk reaction to a thoughtful, intentional response. Mindfulness might sound a little abstract, but it's actually pretty simple. It's just the practice of paying attention to what's happening right here, right now. A thought, an emotion, a feeling in your body, without judging it or getting swept away by it. It's about creating a tiny bit of space between a feeling and how you react to it. So for someone like Amy, this journey kind of unfolds in stages. It starts with resonance, where the idea just clicks for her. Then she gives herself permission for self-care, realizing it's a necessity, not some luxury. This leads to a much greater awareness of her own stress triggers. But the real magic happens at step 4, detection and choice. That's where she can actually spot the stress rising and consciously choose a different response. This helps her regain a sense of control or agency, and over time, find a new, calmer baseline for herself. And this internal change, it has a massive external impact. It fundamentally transforms how a leader interacts with their team, leading to something researchers call mindful communication. And the difference here is like night and day. Amy's initial approach was reactive communication. It was impulsive, it was driven by her own stress, and it just created a ton of tension. Mindful communication, on the other hand, is present, it's open, and it's calm. It's not just a different tactic, it's a whole new way of being. This really breaks down into 3 core behaviors. Presence means you're truly listening to Julie, not just planning your next sentence. Non-judgment means being open to her perspective without immediately getting defensive. And calmness, well, that's the ability to pause and act intentionally instead of just reacting from a place of fear. So when a leader starts communicating this way, it creates this huge ripple effect. The ultimate payoff isn't just having better conversations, it's building the currency of every single high-performing team: trust. I love this quote because it says it all. Trust really is the oil that makes everything work smoothly. Without it, you get friction, resistance, and burnout. But with it, you get collaboration, innovation, and that feeling of psychological safety. So how does a leader like Amy build that trust, especially after it's been broken? Well, the surprising answer and the secret ingredient that mindfulness unlocks is vulnerability. What if instead of projecting perfection, Amy had just said, "Julie, I'm feeling really overwhelmed and I could use your help." Now, this isn't just some nice theory, there's some seriously powerful data to back it up. One study found this massive multiplier for trust, and it's this number right here, 5.3 times. So what does this number actually mean?
Here's the full story. Employees are over 5 times more likely to trust leaders who aren't afraid to be vulnerable. Leaders who admit their mistakes, who acknowledge their own challenges, and who ask for help. That is a staggering impact. And this right here is the crucial takeaway. So many leaders, just like Amy in her stressed out state, are afraid that showing vulnerability makes them look weak and undermines their authority. But the evidence shows the exact opposite is true. By acknowledging her stress, Amy wouldn't have looked incompetent at all. She would have built a powerful human connection with Julie, transforming a moment of tension into a foundation of real trust. So, I'm going to leave you with a little challenge. Based on everything we've looked at today, what's one conversation, maybe at work, maybe at home, that you could approach this week with a bit more presence, a little less judgment, and a lot more calm? I think the impact might just surprise you.